Okay, so BAFTA shortlists are out. It's kind of funny. We were just doing a few videos here, and actually, not too long ago, I did a video, and I remember I looked up live. I was like, okay, when are BAFTA shortlists coming out? And I looked up, and there was no date. So I'm like, okay, they're just going to come out. Lo and behold, I shoot a video one night, and I'm like, okay, we'll see you next time at probably when we get done with Golden Globes or whatever. Boom, here we go. Now we got to talk about BAFTA. And, okay, the first thing, because I woke up this morning, so I was pretty groggy when I was first reading this list. So I read it, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's about what we expect. Yep. No major surprises there. Yep, okay. Well, probably Avatar being left off a couple lists in the top categories is a little different, but okay. And then I looked at it a little closer. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Spielberg. Where's Spielberg? He's not on here. It's like, oh, Fabelmans did not do well. It's in one of the acting races. It's not in supporting actor on the short list. It's missing from quite a few of the tech lists, like almost all the tech lists. Like, oh, funny how Spielberg does that sometimes. Because I need to remind myself here. BAFTA short list from last year. Because I think, if I remember right, West Side Story was on there quite a bit. If I remember right. Let's see, I've got the list here now, so let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. It was shortlisted for 15 nominations last year. This year, Fabelmans is in 5. Yeah. That's weird, because Spielberg, look back also to, I always like to cite it, but Bridge of Spies. Bridge of Spies overperformed big time at BAFTA that year. It virtually got everything it could, I think, except for maybe Tom Hanks in lead actor, but otherwise, there was no stopping it. And I don't think it ended up winning anything except maybe Mark Rylance for supporting actor, which, again, none of us saw the tea leaves of that, and then he went on to win at the Oscars as well. But no, that's my first thing is, oh my God, Fabelmans. Wow, it did not do well with these jury lists and with all the different things they got going here. So I'm like, oh boy. Women Talking also struggled a little bit here. It's on the list for director. Let's see here. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I've got the right things here. It's on the list for director, screenplay, one bid for in an acting race for supporting actor, actually for Ben Whishaw, and score, and that's it. So it's only shortlisted in 4 categories. Otherwise, for overperformers, I'm telling you guys, if you're not on board for it, All Quiet on the Western Front, it is impressing with these groups so far. I don't know how well. I don't think it's going to do anything at SAG, but and it might lose the Golden Globe as well. But All Quiet on the Western Front is in 15, if my thing is right here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14... hold on. Yeah, it says 15 nods. Banshees has 14. Elvis and Everything Everywhere All at Once have 12. After Sun did pretty well here. Tar did pretty well. Babylon, Top Gun is in quite a few of the short lists here, including Best Actor. And yeah, we'll go through the categories here. But yeah, just some general impressions is, okay, some films did pretty well. Living, by the way. Living, I think, coming from Britain, I was like, yeah, I was more or less saying this has a good shot, not only at like at a screenplay nod here for sure, as well as acting, as well as British film, but that's up for best film overall too, and that's on a list of 10 that beat out a few films there. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll run down the list here. And I'll talk about what's in and what's not in. And I'll have my list here as well for what I currently have in at the Oscars and then some other general films that are around there. Okay, so the 10 films that can be whittled down, that will be whittled down to 5 for Best Film at BAFTA this year are After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Living, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, and Triangle of Sadness. So, yeah, Avatar is not on here. Women Talking is not on here. Babylon is not on here. Glass Onion is not on here. I don't think we were expecting it. The Whale, yeah, that was going to struggle here. Black Panther is not on the list. Which again, Black Panther, I wasn't so sure on where that was going to land and where that was not going to land. The big thing I think for Black Panther is Angela Bassett. Rather, I was going to say Angela Lansbury. I'm like, nope, she's gone. Sorry, she was in Glass Onion, but I don't think she was going to get a nomination for that. No way. Angela Bassett, did she get in? And the answer is yes, she did. Black Panther, by the way, is only shortlisted in 4 categories, which I think I have all the same categories at the Oscars, I think. Not production design, sorry. It's not in production design, but it's in costumes, it's in makeup, and it's also in visual effects. So that only got 4. But yeah, remember, Black Panther only got a nomination for visual effects at the 2018 BAFTAs. So yeah, so it was going to be an interesting thing to see if they bounce back from that and they give it possibly some more nods this year. But just based off the short list here, it's not gonna bounce back in a huge way. No way. Yeah, I think at the end of this, I'll kind of run through and be like, okay, here's the ones based off of, maybe a very quick rundown of which ones get in. Okay. Then we have, of the 15 nominees here, potentially, for Best British Film, they'll whittle it down to 10. These films are After Sun, The Banshees of Inisherin, Blue Jean, Brian and Charles, Emily, Empire of Light, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Living, The Lost King, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical, or I'll probably just call it Matilda the Musical from now on, See How They Run, The Swimmers, and The Wonder. Yeah, generally speaking, there's not really an obvious one off the top of my head that is like produced in the UK or Greater Britain and everything that qualified that didn't get in here. Nothing off the top of my head that I think, that's like a glaring omission here. Nothing that I can think of here. Okay, this is kind of alphabetical in some ways here. For international feature, I don't know what they're doing this one now, I guess. I'm just going off the variety list, by the way. So maybe they ordered it a different way. 5 films will be nominated here from All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Bardo, Close, Corsage, Decision to Leave, EO, Holy Spider, The Quiet Girl, and Triple R. And let me bring up my list here for international film, for the ones that made the short list there as well. I think Saint Omer is the only one. I have that one in right now to get nominated. That's like the only one. Return to Seoul, some people thought, but that one is also not on the short list here for BAFTA. But yeah, I've got Saint Omer in that 5th place. The other 4 feel really solid to me. Decision to Leave, Close, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Argentina 1985. Those feel like more safe picks here. It's that 5th one. It's like, okay, is it EO? Is it possibly Bardo or The Quiet Girl? I don't know. EO, Quiet Girl, and Bardo are all here on the list. Okay, moving on to documentary feature. 5 nominees will be in this category. They will be whittled down from All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, A Bunch of Amateurs, Fire of Love, The Ghost of Richard Harris, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, a Song, Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues, McEnroe, Moon Age Daydream, and Naval Knee. So there's a few on here. Like The Territory is the only one, again, that I have in at the Oscars right now that did not make the short list here. Otherwise, Descent, some people like at the Oscars. That's not here. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Again, I feel like, yeah, generally speaking, nothing too glaring yet. Nothing that made the short list, at least at the Oscars. In the animated category, there will only be 4 nominees here, and the 8 films shortlisted here are The Amazing Maurice, The Bad Guys, Pinocchio, Lightyear, Marcel the Shell, Minions, The Rise of Gru, Puss in Boots, and Turning Red. Again, at this point in the race, some of those smaller, not major studio release films like My Father's Dragon or Wendell and Wild, The Sea Beast, some of those. they don't. It's hard. It's harder for them to get into BAFTA, particularly on the short list here. So traditionally, yeah, they do go with the more highbrow, the ones that are distributed by the bigger studios. So yeah, Pinocchio, won't have a problem here. I would say Puss in Boots, Marcel, and Turning Red are probably your 4 there, by the way. But yeah, okay. Then we move on to the kooky, weird director category, where at least one male and one female gets nominated at the end. At least that's the way I'm reading this. So I don't know if this is a change from the last 2 years, because the last 2 years it had to be 3 and 3. So the rules here, this is how Variety phrased it. 16 films will advance in the directing category. Members of the directing chapter vote to determine the long list of 10, 5 male and 5 female, of which the top 2 automatically are nominated. So you get a list of 10 directors, you pick the first male director to get the most votes and the first female director to get the most votes, they advance. So that leaves 4 other nominees. So from there, a jury selects a further 3 male and 3 female to create a long list of 16. That's where we get to this. And then a jury selects 4 directors from the long list to make up a nominee list of 6 directors. You following me here? Because this is, I had to read this like 4 times, and I still wasn't, sure if they had changed anything or not. In the final round, all film voting members vote to determine the winning film. 206 eligible films were submitted for consideration. Anyway, so if that is correct, this is a rule change, and somebody out there, please clarify this for me, because I'm not sure if this is if this article is wrong, or if I'm whatever, but it's like misunderstanding something here or whatever. But my understanding was the way they did it the last couple years since they started the short list was 3 female directors get in, 3 male directors get in. And maybe that was just last year, but I looked at it here, I'm like, okay, because that's, you could argue that screwed Denis Villeneuve out of a nomination last year for directing, because he didn't get on the list. Well, he was on the short list for BAFTA, but he didn't get one of those slots because there was already 3 male directors ahead of him. And I was like, oh, God. BAFTA, I understand what they're doing here. They're trying to get more female directors' attention, but at this rate, it's like, okay, you're really going to sit back and say, because of that diversity quota stuff, you're going to say Dune directed itself, and it's going to have a bigger impact going forward on the Oscar race. Personally, I'm not. It's like, I don't know. It's like, why can't we just nominate the best people in the category? I don't get it. That's what the category's there for. It's the best directing job. I don't know. Anyway, so interesting to note here, some of these shortlisted ones. And by the way, the list here on Variety does not list the director's name, so they only list the film name. So I'm going to have to look through later and see, okay, which of these is a female director, which of these is a male director, if I don't already know. So the 16 directing jobs are After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, Corsage, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fire of Love, The Quiet Girl, Saint Omer, She Said, Tar, Till, Top Gun Maverick, I know, The Woman King, and Women Talking. So yeah, according to this jury selection, Spielberg is a worse director than Joseph Kosinski. Okay, having not seen Fabelmans, I don't know. Maybe in this case this year it was. Possibly. I don't know. But, man, that's a head-scratcher how Spielberg doesn't get in. Especially, again, when Spielberg has done much better at BAFTA the last few years. At least, again, I'm going to look up BAFTA last year with West Side Story, how many final nominations it got. Because if I remember right, it got in for, like, directing and stuff last year. I don't think it quite made the list for Best Film. Maybe it did. Hold on. It did not. Okay. It ended up with, that's right, it ended up with 5 nominations out of 15. So it didn't get director, it didn't get film, but it got 2 acting nominations, Best Casting, Production Design, and Sound. So sometimes it doesn't all equate, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, so my boy, Edward Berger, he's in there. This is where I get to breathe. When I saw he was on the list this morning, that's when I breathed a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, so my pick from like almost 2 months ago, maybe not that long ago, over a month ago for sure. Shit, I can go back. Was it November? I think it was November I put him in. Hold on. Can I? I've got Gold Derby pulled up here. Can I look at my history of when I last changed it or something? I can do that another time. But I want to say it was November that I put Edward Berger in, and I was like, I looked at the list. I'm like, Edward Berger. I'm like, they like to go sometimes, you know, the guy from the director of Cold War. Sometimes they go with either an Asian or a European-based director that does a film that just catches everybody's attention. Here you go. Then again, to my point last night, though, when I was talking about it, you've got Decision to Leave on here. You do not have, though, the one I cited, though, was Triangle of Sadness. You don't have that director on here. At least not, no, you don't. So, yeah, that's interesting. You got a couple of, you know, like, couple here and there that are definitely in the hunt, though. You know, McDonough's in here, which, yeah, with Banshees, yeah, I was expecting that one to make the short list here, or the long list, I guess you could call it. Yeah, Todd Field, not a surprise. James Cameron, yeah, it's interesting on that one. I need to remind myself, the first Avatar at BAFTA, I don't remember it getting a boatload of nominations. I'm going to double check that here. Oh, it ended up doing pretty well. It won for production design and special effects, but it was otherwise nominated in film, director, score, cinematography, editing, and sound. So it ended up with 8 nominations. So, by the way, let me check here. Avatar is shortlisted in, or long-listed. I keep saying shortlisted, but yeah. It's only in 3 categories. It's going to be eligible in production design, visual effects, and sound, and that's it. Yeah, that's interesting. Black Panther did better than Avatar did. Interesting. Yeah, so let's see. Who else is not on the list here? The guy who did Triple R is not on here. He got a nomination at Critics' Choice, but yeah, that one, that might just be a Critics' Choice thing since they extended it to 10 nominees. Damien Chazelle is not on here, but again, Babylon, I think it has a lot of lists here today, but not all of them are in those top categories. Most of them are tech categories. Let's see here. I don't know. Some people I've been hearing about maybe Guillermo del Toro getting in for Pinocchio for directing that, but if he was, I think it would have to have happened today on the long list at BAFTA, but that did not happen. So yeah, like I said, we'll have to come back to that one sometime, and I need to figure out, okay, maybe just in case I'll go with 3 male, 3 female, just in case they do that again and this thing is wrong or whatever, but because I want to say when I looked at this last year, I looked up and the rules are the same here. Let me actually, hold on. I have another page open here. This is the BAFTA long list from 2022. And let me just read what they have here. This is on the official BAFTA site. So the last year director, 20 films progressed to round 2 of voting, and 6 will be nominated. Round 1 is a chapter vote. Round 2 is voted on by a jury. And round 3 is voted on by the general membership. That's after the nominees are announced, and that's your winner. So to determine the long list in round 1, the directing chapter voted the top 7 female and top 7 male directed films were automatically longlisted. The remaining 3 and 3 female and male directors were voted on by a long jury, who have considered the next 10 rankings female and male directed films. A nominating jury will vote for the 6 nominations. So it doesn't say there that it's going to be 3 and 3. Maybe last year just ended up being 3 and 3, because if I'm going to triple check this, but I am pretty sure we ended up with 3 and 3. Let me see. What is this? Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, it's later than I was expecting to shoot this video. By the way, as well, guys. So. If my brain power is not operating 100%, that's probably why. Okay, let's go here. Here we go. 2020s. There we go. Yep, you had Jane Campion, Audrey Dwan, and Julia Ducournau were the 3 female directors. Then you had Hamaguchi, Aleem Khan, Paul Thomas Anderson as the male directors. At least Aleem Khan, I believe, is a male. Yes, he is a male director. There you go. And he had After Love. I forgot that one. That one I think did pretty well on the long list and came back. Some of these are weird. Like I remember one year was it Saint Maud was longlisted in a bunch of stuff, and it got like 3 nominations and stuff like that. So I don't know. Some of these smaller films that get a bunch of mentions on the lists, sometimes they just don't go through. Sometimes they do. Anyhow, but yeah, so Spielberg, James Cameron, and those are the big 2 for sure. Otherwise, from there, it was really going to be tough sledding already enough for S.S. Rajamouli, Damien Chazelle. I mean, the notice that Critics' Choice helped him, but the fact that Babylon has such a mixed reception, the box office has not been there. That's the biggest thing this year, but still, yeah, it was going to be really tough sledding no matter what for him to get in for directing again. Okay, next up we have the original screenplay category. The 10 films that'll be whittled down to 5 here are After Sun, The Banshees of Inisherin, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, The Menu, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. So let me flip over to my original list because I believe all 5 of my picks are in. Yep, they are. So nothing too jarring there. On the adapted side, the 10 films that are long listed will be whittled down are from All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Pinocchio, Living, The Quiet Girl, She Said, Top Gun, The Whale, Women Talking, and The Wonder. And I believe all 5 of those are also in for me, including Pinocchio. Though Living stands a much better chance over here. And I think All Quiet on the Western Front might even sneak into Screenplay. If it gets into Screenplay here at BAFTA, which will be a full week when the nominations are announced before the Oscars, if I'm still in that kick for All Quiet on the Western Front, man, I'm thinking of dropping Pinocchio and putting that one in. I could, yeah. I mean, we saw it in 1917. It used to be a trope that the war films couldn't do it in the Screenplay category. Then 1917 happened, so... I mean, that doesn't automatically mean that it's going to happen for this one, but we'll see. And then also, don't forget, 1917 by that point it had already won the Globe and stuff, so it was kind of on its way to becoming a front runner. So I don't know if we're going to be able to say the same for All Quiet on the Western Front, by the way. Okay, we'll move on now to Best Actress in a Leading Role. The 10 women are long listed here will be whittled down to. These 5 of these 10 choices. So Naomi Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Cate Blanchett for Tar, Jessica Chastain for The Good Nurse, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Danielle Deadwyler for Till, Leslie Manville for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Emma Thompson for Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, yeah, we don't have Margot Robbie on the list. That's interesting. That is interesting because Babylon, I think it has 8 nominations it'll be up for, but one of them not being Margot Robbie, who got a double nomination from BAFTA here a couple of years ago for both Bombshell and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Kind of interesting. It's not, and again, not like her film totally tanked. There you go, though. So she's the only one I have in my 5 right now that did not make the long list. I don't know if that automatically disqualifies her, though. If she misses out at SAG, which right now I have her predicted to miss out at SAG, we'll see. I mean, if she gets in at SAG, then I think I'll for sure keep her. If she misses out at SAG, like I'm predicting, okay, then it gets a little tougher. But I might come up with the same 5. It just really depends on whether or not Viola Davis pulls through. And at this rate, I have her in at SAG, and I think she would make it in here on a list of 6. I said 5. It'll be 6. 6 nominees here. I think she can make a list of 6 here. But interesting, though, I did talk the other day about The Good Nurse, how maybe Jessica Chastain pulls a weird nomination and gets in at SAG. She's on the list here today for BAFTA. And when we move on to it eventually in Supporting Actor, Eddie Redmayne's there, so look out. Okay, let's move on to Best Actor here. So again, 6 nominees will be picked out from Austin Butler in Elvis, Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick, Harris Dickinson for Triangle of Sadness, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kaluuya for Nope, makes no sense to me, Felix Kammerer for All Quiet on the Western Front, Daryl McCormick for Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. So, yeah, we know Bill Nighy's an easy one here. Colin Farrell's a pretty easy one here. Brendan Fraser, I think, still makes it in. His is going to be tougher, though. Look back. Remember Will Smith, we all thought, was really going to struggle last year at BAFTA. He won. So, we'll see about Brendan Fraser. We'll see if he's in steamrolling mode by that point. We'll get back to like who all I have in, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, the fact that Hugh Jackman is not in this list either, SAG is do or die for him. If he doesn't get in at SAG, I think he's done. SAG at this point is going to be it. It's going to be really tough because you have 6 nominees at Critics' Choice. He's not one of them. Yeah, you need SAG at this point. Without SAG, I think I have to go with the one I said literally last night I was not going to do, and that's probably Tom Cruise. But I don't know. Paul Mescal, I think it depends on who that 5th nominee at SAG is. If it's Tom Cruise, okay, then he has to make it in at BAFTA too. If he makes it in at BAFTA and SAG, okay, then I'm sniffing the aroma of like Woody Harrelson here a few years ago when it was he got in, he missed the Globes and he missed Critics' Choice, but then he got in at SAG and BAFTA for 3 billboards. Lo and behold, he gets the Oscar nomination. There's one other example of that, but I can't remember what it was. I was going to say Jesse Plemons, but no, that didn't happen last year because he missed out at SAG. He was nominated at BAFTA, and then I put him in last minute for Oscars, and it paid off. But yeah, I don't know. And speaking of which, it was kind of interesting. We talked, and we'll get to supporting actor, but look at all the Triangle of Sadness possibilities here in these categories, in the acting categories, I mean. Okay, let's move on. By the way, some other ones that didn't make the list there for Best Actor. Jeremy Pope, that feels like it's a real stretch now. Diego Calva for Babylon. He was struggling to begin with, so I don't think so. Yeah, so I think that's that one. Oops, supporting actors is next. The 10 that'll be whittled down to 6 here are going to come from Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Hong Chow in The Whale, Carrie Condon for Banshees, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dolly De Leon, for Triangle of Sadness, Lashana Lynch for The Woman King, Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, Carey Mulligan for She Said, Emma Thompson for Matilda the Musical, and Amy Lou Wood for Living. So yeah, no Jessie Buckley, no Claire Foy, no Stephanie Sue. Okay, I don't know if it's done for any of those 3 though. Jessie Buckley I think still gets in. Stephanie Sue, I'm going to hold on to. It really, if she misses SAG, that's tougher. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm thinking. Stephanie Sue could be very much like we just talked about in Jesse Plemons. If you go into the Oscars, when nominations are starting to come out, when final voting is happening, rather, Power of the Dog was the clear frontrunner last year at that point. It had won the Globe, it had won Critics' Choice, or Critics' Choice was about to happen if it had not happened yet. So here comes Jesse, so therefore the voters put it a little more front of mind. So stuff like Jesse Plemons can happen. Stuff like the sound nomination for Power of the Dog can happen. Production design can happen for Power of the Dog. So if Everything Everywhere All at Once becomes that film this year, Stephanie Sue can get in. Maybe it gets in for cinematography. Maybe it gets in at a couple places where it was not on the long list here today. So, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, Claire Foy has just not gotten anything, so I feel like Jessie Buckley is probably the only nominee from that one, which is okay, because sometimes, when you have films like that, where early on we perceive it as being like, oh, you could get 2 or 3 from this film, like Trial of Chicago 7, when it gets down to one that you can solidify around, then you don't end up, having everybody cancel each other out, which sometimes works for the better. But yeah, Angela Bassett getting on here is definitely good news for her. Dolly De Leon, who was missing from Critics' Choice, and I don't think is going to be there at SAG, but I don't know. It depends on how well that film's being seen. Otherwise, yeah, Hong Chow getting back on here today was a good sign for that one, and also a better sign, I think, that The Whale. The Brendan Fraser is at least going to get nominated for The Whale. Because if just he and probably makeup and maybe screenplay had been like the only ones, or if it had only, if it had only been like, say, we'll take it out of screenplay for example. If it had only been Brendan Fraser and makeup, or maybe only Brendan Fraser, then I'm like, okay, then it's tough. That just means it didn't go over for him. So not enough people are going to vote for him to even get into the 6 spots there. But since it does have a little more support here, it actually has 4 lists that it's in, that's a better sign. That's a better sign, I think, that it's going to at least get the nomination. Again, I don't know if Brendan Fraser can win right now, but that seems like a more uphill battle for him there. Okay, we'll move on now to supporting actor. The 10 fellows here are going to come down to Brendan Gleeson for Banshees, Tom Hanks for Elvis, Woody Harrelson for Triangle of Sadness, Barry Keoghan for Banshees, Brad Pitt for Babylon, Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse, Albert Schuss, or Shush, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, for All Quiet on the Western Front, Michael Ward for Empire of Light, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. So, yep, I kind of said at the start there, but no Paul Dano and no Judd Hirsch. Oof. Both of them missed out at the Globes, too. What if they both miss at SAG? Oh, boy. Boy. At that rate, I don't know if you even go with one of them at the Oscars. That might be tough. Well, yeah, we'll see who all gets in here. But, yeah, Brad Pitt, I'm sure, is happy to be on this list. Ben Wishaw's definitely glad to be on this list. Because other than SAG, it's like, yeah, he's missed everything. So SAG and maybe BAFTA here could be his last hopes. Otherwise, Jeremy, I would have liked, if Jeremy Strong had gotten on this list, that would have been a good sign. Woody Harrelson, I kind of talked about him kind of being like that one, like Judi Dench last year, where it's like they miss all season and then they come back, or again, like Jonah Hill or Laura Dern, or the one gal supporting actress from Roma as well. Some of those contenders or actors and actresses that we look at kind of early in the season, we're like, okay, they have a little bit of a shot, or we think at one point they could possibly be a contender, like a real contender. I could have been a contender, all that stuff. Then they kind of disappear, but last second they come back in. So I don't know. We'll see if Woody is maybe one of those, because early on I had him in there for supporting actor, and again, Triangle of Sadness is in quite a few categories today. Did I even count how many? Let me make sure I've got the right count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Yeah, it's in 7. So, yeah, that one ended up doing pretty good. Okay, the casting category. Basically, like an equivalent of ensemble here. You got 10 films that'll be shortlisted down to 5, and those will be the nominees. They're going to come from After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Living, Matilda the Musical, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, there isn't really an equivalent here for the Oscars, but Fabelmans made it onto there, even though it's missing in like director and supporting actor and stuff, and a lot of tech categories, as we're going to discover here. Let's see, otherwise, if I flip really quick to my SAG predictions for who's in for ensemble and stuff, No Woman King, No Glass Onion, and I think just those 2. Yeah. Women Talking is also not on the list here, even though that one I think some people still have in for ensemble. Let's see here. What else? Babylon is not on here. She Said is not on here. So, yeah. Interesting to see Tar on here. Tar ended up getting, what would you say, 8? I think 8 categories was on the, or 8 nominations, I should say. Possible nominations on the long list here. At least from this Variety article. So, yeah, that one didn't do too bad. All right, now we're going to get into, I believe the rest of these are tech categories, so we'll go through those now. I'll switch back to my comparison here for the Oscars. Cinematography. Okay, so the 10 here, again, will come down to 5. It'll be All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Athena, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Batman, Elvis, Empire of Light, Tar, and Top Gun. So with these, no Fabelmans, as we mentioned. It's, again, missing in quite a few here. Let's see here. No Avatar. Those are the two I have in at the Oscars. The other three I have in are all here. Everything Everywhere All at Once is not here. Bardo is not here. I know Bardo some people had picked to maybe be an outside contender still. Triple R. Elvis is on here. Some people lately have been talking about maybe that one doing better at the Oscars because it's been doing getting a lot of nominations at all the places and stuff, and it is longlisted, as we said, in how many, 11 categories today, or 11 spots, I should say. Where was that at? 12. It's at 12. Sorry, I almost had it right the first time. Okay. We can move on to the next one here, and that's going to be costume design. And the 10 that are long listed here are All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Babylon, Banshees, Black Panther, Corsage, Elvis, Glass Onion, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, and Matilda the Musical. So yeah, you'll notice a lot of love for Matilda here today. That is on 3, 4, 5 lists, I think, if I'm counting right. So in this one, I have the Fabelmans in. Again, that one really struggled here. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once I have in as well at the Oscars, but that one did not quite make it onto this list. The Woman King is also, interestingly enough, not on this list. Let's see here. I think, generally speaking, that's that one, though. In the film editing category, 10 films here are After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees, Decision to Leave, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Moon Age Daydream, Top Gun, and Triangle of Sadness. So I believe I have a couple missing from this one. Fabelmans, obviously, and then Avatar. And then for other potential contenders, let's see here. Tar is not on the list. Glass Onion, some people had picked early on. That's not on the list. And I think that's probably about it. So, yeah. Moving on to the makeup and hairstyling category. Here we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Amsterdam, Babylon, The Batman, Black Panther, Blonde, Elvis, Emancipation, Matilda the Musical, and The Whale. So I believe all 5 of mine are in here. Yeah, Babylon's in here. Blonde is in here as well. So, are there any on here that were not also shortlisted at the Oscars? I think Crimes of the Future is the only one, and they swapped in. Which one did they swap in? Matilda the Musical. Yeah. Otherwise they got 9. 9 films match up between the two of them. That's interesting there. We'll move on to score. That's the next one on the list here. The 10 films listed here are All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees, The Batman, Empire of Light, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Glass Onion, Guillermo del Toro, Pinocchio, rather. It's titled as Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Tar, Women Talking, and The Wonder. That's 11, and it does say 11 at the bottom. I can't read. So again, no Fabelmans here. What the fuck, man? Man, that hurts John Williams, I think. Let's see. Otherwise, the other ones the other 4 are ones I have in. Let's see. Black Panther is missing from this list. The Woman King, some people had picked here. Avatar, some people have picked here, but that's not here. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's weird. I have it I think it's possible to get into a lot of categories, but score is not one I've had high hopes for. But that one made the list. For production design, 10 on this one. All Quiet on the Western Front. Here finally comes Avatar, The Way of Water. Babylon, Banshees, The Batman, Elvis, Empire of Light, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, and Pinocchio. So here, I believe Black Panther is also not on the list here. Otherwise, Glass Onion is kind of an outside pick right now. That's not here. I'm trying to think here. Anything else that's possible? But yeah, also Batman. Let me see. That one has 4, right? Or 5. Hold on. Let me count again. Okay, maybe it's got more. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That has 6, actually. So that one, we haven't... Yeah, that one, I don't know. I mean, I think makeup and then maybe visual effects are like the top 2. I don't have it in for visual effects. I only have it in for makeup at the moment, I believe. And it's not on the short list for score, so we know it's not going to get in there. But, yeah. Okay, the next one up here is for visual effects. And 10 films here are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Batman, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fantastic Beasts, Pinocchio, Jurassic World, rather, and Top Gun. So, Nope is the only one, and 13 Lives. Those are the 2 that got in at the Oscars shortlist that are not on here. So they favored Pinocchio, and they favored Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I was hoping Everything Everywhere All at Once would also get listed here at Oscars for visual effects. They're kind of unique, they're kind of different and stuff, and it would have been a really damn good story if what I read was true, which was there was only like 6 or 7 visual effects artists the whole time on that film, and they all kind of spread the work around, and all it only took only 7 people, and they they did that, but that's a damn good story if it's true, but I don't know. Would have been nice to see him, possibly the whole team, the whole visual effects team, go on stage if they happen to have won, but nope, that's not going to happen. All right, finally we have the sound category. And outside of visual effects in this category, this is like the only 2 that Banshees is not in, by the way. So for this one, you have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Babylon, The Batman, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Pinocchio, Tar, 13 Lives, and Top Gun Maverick. So on this one, I think all 5 of mine are in. They are. Elvis, again, I think Elvis got into every list it could have today, I think, for BAFTA. Otherwise, no Black Panther, which was shortlisted, and then Moon Age Daydream was also shortlisted, but that did not get in, so they favored Everything Everywhere All at Once is in both. They favored... What's the 2 that are missing here? Tar and 13 Lives. Yep, at BAFTA, I should clarify. Okay, and I feel like that's about it. There are a couple like best British short animation, but I don't know. I guess we do see a couple crossovers here, like The Boy, The Mole, The Fox, and The Horse is here, but I think that's the only one. And then British short film, I can look at the list here, I guess, but I don't think any of them crossed over. And they don't always. An Irish Goodbye, which I actually have in second place, is on here. I think that's the only one. None of these other titles are jumping out at me here. So, like I said, sometimes there's a couple that cross over. It doesn't always mean that they win both categories, though, at both award shows, but we'll see. Okay, as we scroll up, let me just talk about generally the ones that feel like they have a good shot at getting in, or the one that could win. So sound, I mean, Top Gun for the win, probably there, especially since Avatar and Babylon are a couple films there that seem to be also in good contention to win. Both of them are missing from the film list and the director list. Top Gun Maverick is in both. So yeah, I think that one. Otherwise, generally speaking, I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to have a pretty good haul here. Avatar gets in here, Babylon gets in, and then the 5th one is going to be a little tougher. Maybe Elvis, since that did so well, but we'll see. For visual effects, yeah, Avatar wins this one. Probably Black Panther gets in. It did win. This was the only nomination last time for the first Black Panther, and it won that category, even though it was not even nominated at the Oscars for visual effects. Doctor Strange probably gets in. Let me see here. Maybe Pinocchio gets in. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And Top Gun is probably the 5th one there. For production design, That one's kind of up in the air. I can see them going with Avatar. I can also see them going with Elvis, or possibly even the Fabelmans here, with Black Panther out. So those three, probably All Quiet on the Western Front then also gets in. Babylon, probably, if I didn't mention that one already. For score, with no John Williams here, boy, I mean, do they go with Hildur again? They could, for Women Talking. Otherwise, Pinocchio probably gets in. Empire of Light could get in. Banshees, I think, gets in. And Babylon. Makeup and hairstyling, look out. Probably not the Whale this time. If Matilda gets in, since that one has a little bit of a soft spot, I don't know if it can win, but it could get a nomination. Babylon could win here. The Batman could win here, possibly. Even Elvis, I think, has a shot at winning here. So that one's kind of up in the air. Editing, again, Top Gun Maverick probably wins this one. I would say from all the stuff around this, look out for Elvis to get nominated, Banshees to get nominated, All Quiet on the Western Front to get nominated, and then it's either going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once or Babylon to get that fifth slot. Costume design, generally I feel like this one again will be Black Panther will, since it's nominated here, I think it will get a nomination here, as will Elvis. I can see Corsage getting in, Babylon, and then that fifth one's going to be a little tougher. I don't think they go Banshees here for this one. Maybe Amsterdam gets a pick in here. Cinematography. This one, again, with Fabelmans out. Empire of Light is my front runner at the Oscars right now. It's a weak. That's probably the one category I'm like, that's a weak front runner. But it could win here, possibly, especially since it's from Sam Mendes, who is from Britain. So Empire of Light, I think, does get in. Probably they go Top Gun. Probably they go Banshees, Babylon, and then either All Quiet on the Western Front or Tar for that fifth slot. But Elvis could also play in that one. In the casting category, this is always a weird one. You'll see the big ensembles or you'll see the small ensembles, both nominated here. Living, I would put in there, maybe not to win, but that gets nominated. I don't know who wins this one. This is always a tricky one. Everything Everywhere All at Once, probably. Elvis, probably. Banshees, probably. And then After Sun. I'm just going to pick 5 there. In supporting actor, you get 6 here. Ke Huy Quan, I think, is in. Both Brendan Gleeson and Barry Keoghan are in. Woody Harrelson, I think, is in. And then that leaves 2 more, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Not Tom Hanks, I don't think. Boy, I don't know. I don't think All Quiet on the Western Front gets this one for acting. And maybe Ben Whishaw, and then they could go Michael Ward for Empire of Light. They could, since he's on here. And he hasn't really gotten... Early on, he got a little bit of buzz because it looked like his role would be a very, sympathetic one in the trailer and stuff, but that has just not stuck around. In supporting actress, I think you have, with the list here, Carrie Condon gets in, Jamie Lee Curtis is in, probably Carey Mulligan, Angela Bassett, I think, is in. Ooh, Dolly De Leon, I think, makes it with 6 nominees. So that leaves... They could... Emma Thompson is royalty over there, man. They could just go Emma Thompson. But I'm not going to go her. I'm going to go Amy Lou Wood. I think Living gets a little bit of love there. So speaking of which, in lead actor, Bill Nighy, I think, gets in. Austin Butler's in. Brendan Fraser's in. Colin Farrell's in. I am going to go Felix Kemmerer here for All Quiet, just because. And then Paul Mescal, I think, is that 6th one. If it's not Paul Mescal, it's Tom Cruise for that one. Lead actress. This is tougher because seemingly all 10 of these contenders we've talked about at some point or they've gotten in somewhere. There's no out of left field nominees this year in this category. Generally speaking, all 10 of these are ones that we're familiar with the film or we've seen them nominated somewhere. So Cate Blanchett's in. I think Viola Davis is in. Michelle Williams and Michelle Yeoh are both in. So that's 4. I can see Danielle Deadwyler missing. She did miss at the Globes. And I don't know, Till is not on any other lists. I didn't expect it to be. I don't think they go Ana de Armas here. I think Viola Davis, I've already named, sorry, that's 4. Emma Thompson is shortlisted twice. I would say good luck to you, Leo Grant. I think she gets in for that. And the sixth one is either going to be Leslie Manville or maybe Jessica Chastain. That sixth slot is a little open there. For adapted, really quick, going through this one, Glass Onion is in. I think Living is in. She Said is in. The Whale is tougher. Women Talking, I think, is 4. That fifth one. I'm going to say All Quiet on the Western Front for now. Original screenplay, Banshees is in. Everything Everywhere All at Once is in. The Fabelmans, since it didn't do so well, I can see that one missing screenplay. Let's go with Tar, so that's 4, and then that leaves probably either Elvis or After Sun, or Triangle of Sadness. Boy, a lot of possibilities there. In the directing one, again, I'd have to look up the list for sure to see who's male, who's female, going off that assumption that it's going to be 3 and 3 again. For the one who automatically gets in who's a male, oh boy, that could be anybody. I mean, that really could be whoever. Let's just say for the sake of argument that it is Colin Farrell's movie he's in, Martin McDonagh. Let's just say it's him for argument's sake. And for the top female director, again for argument's sake, let's just say it is, for Women Talking, it's Sarah Polley. So that still leaves 4. If it's whoever, then I think the other 4 could easily be filled by Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front, the Daniels is for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Todd Field for Tar, and that leaves one more spot there. Till, by the way, is on this one, actually. I looked at that wrong. Till is on here for director, and that is a female director, so could be her. Could also be the Woman King, that's Blythewood, I think. She's got, I think maybe it's a hyphenated last name, but yeah, off the top of my head, yeah, she could be it. I'm sorry, still no to Top Gun here. She said, I don't think so. Again, I'd have to look up the rest of these because I don't know. Elvis has a possibility here as well, and After Sun, I think, could be a possibility. Animated, I think we named them off already, but it's, yeah, Pinocchio, it's Marcel, it's Puss in Boots, and Turning Red. Boy, documentary, I mean, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed probably. Moon Age Daydream I can see getting in. Hallelujah getting in because that's also shortlisted at the Oscars. Since it's British person or Wales personality or wherever he's from, Richard Harris. I know he's from the general UK area. He gets Ghost of Richard Harris. I'll put in there. And then how about All That Breathes? All That Breathes, or it could be Fire of Love. Fire of Love is in there for director. So for film not in English language. I think you got to go with All Quiet on the Western Front, Triple R, The Quiet Girl, since that has a few other spots as well. I think you got to go Argentina, 1985, and then either Decision to Leave or Close, one of the two. But also you got EO and you've got Corsage in that category to look out for. For Best British Film, you're only knocking off 5, so let's see here. Banshees, I think, is in. Good Luck to You, Leo Grant is in. Living is in. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is in. Matilda's in. The Wonder, I think, can make it in. Did I say After Sun yet? After Sun, I think, is in. Let's go Brian and Charles, Lady Chatterley's Lover, and Swimmers for the end there. And for Best Film, I think the 5 that get in, you have Banshees, I think, is in. Everything Everywhere All at Once is in. Top Gun, I think, is in. Boy. Elvis and All Quiet. How about those 5? Man, yeah, I don't think... The Fabelmans, since it didn't do so well, I don't... It could happen. I mean, technically it's on the list, so it could happen, but I don't know. Just after seeing how it performed today, I don't know if the Fabelmans has enough strength to get in for Best Film. I think it's going to be tougher, especially if West Side Story had 15 last year, or however many, and that one couldn't get in for director or film. So, just to compare for a Spielberg film. So, boy, and again, you got Triangle of Sadness has got a bunch of spots here. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's at BAFTA, especially since they started doing this. It's tougher. It's a lot tougher to predict these. And they always have a trick up their sleeve. There's always something that surprises us, always something to kind of make us go, oh, for fuck's sake, why didn't we, why were we thinking that, stuff like that. And as we saw last year, some of their final stuff was actually kind of predictive. I mean, I already talked about a couple of things. Jesse Plemons getting in. Denis Villeneuve missing for director. Those are the major two I can think of. Let me think here. Was there one? There's probably one other one obvious that I'm not thinking of right now that'll come to me like 2 minutes after I shut the video off here. But again, we'll see how predictive they can be again this year, and how much of this is going to carry over. And and SAG will also get, when we get to some of those acting races, especially, those will give us some final clues about, okay, Hugh Jackman, is Angela Bassett, going to get in basically to every category this year, every race, I should say. What do we do about the supporting actresses and women talking? What do we do about Tom Cruise and Top Gun? What do we do about Margot Robbie and Viola Davis? Stuff like that. So, yeah. All right. Otherwise, it is late, so I'm going to say sayonara, and we'll for sure catch you on Tuesday. Otherwise, I think I'm done.